Star Citizen may finally be getting a much-needed UI overhaul. DICE fixed a big issue with Battlefield 2042, Microsoft claims that Sony are paying to keep games off Game Pass, and much more on This Week in Gaming. Hey guys, LevelCap here, and the latest Inside Star Citizen video gave us an exciting first look at a massive UI overhaul, plus updated ship development and a new gimbal system that could definitely change ship customization. The UI updates were the big ticket item for most viewers though. The development showed a card-based UI system running in-engine for the first time. It's reminiscent of the game's early concept art and appears in the game world as augmented reality screens players can interact with. The card system is part of a more extensive UI overhaul that will finally improve stuff like the in-game star map, ship customization, item management, mobiGlas, and more. To say that players are eager for UI improvements would be a massive understatement. For years, players have been dealing with the inferior Skylines map system and ship heads-up displays that are impossible to see in the wrong conditions. It's possible the UI overhaul may even become a big part of CitizenCon's focus in October. The devs also showcased a work-in-progress salvage UI system that shows you the relevant info while dismantling or repairing ships. Work on these systems has also led to a critical change for gimbals that could potentially apply to weapons in the future. Instead of gimbals having weapon size limitations, a future update could have them behave differently based solely on their size and weight. And that's currently how salvage devices will operate, with bigger devices moving slower than smaller ones. CIG also showed us how gray box development on a handful of ships is going. The Drake Corsair is finally taking shape. The Argo SRV looks very functional with significant improvements to the cockpit and general polish to the exterior. And certainly one of the more exciting ship updates was an early look at the internal relay system for the Aegis Hammerhead. Star Citizen is getting a big multi-crew gameplay update next year that'll give players actual roles on the ship beyond just being turret gunners. Players will be able to repair subsystems individually, manage power, modify life support, and more. Basically, when you think of shows like Star Trek where the captain is asking engineering for more power, more thrust to restore shields, that's what this update will potentially enable. CIG also released big updates on the game's public test server with key improvements. A failsafe has been added for stuck elevators that resets them after 60 seconds. Ships will no longer be stored at Klesher when you finish your prison sentence. The Siege of Orison got several gameplay updates to improve the mission flow. Objectives and notifications have been added to the anti-air turrets and other mission critical events. You'll also have more time to leave the mission area after completing it and won't be given a level 2 crime stat. These improvements will make it to the live build of the game as soon as testing rules out any major issues. Overall, this episode of Inside Star Citizen was a particularly exciting one for players. Getting a fresh look at some actual UI progress is extremely nice. This year has shown some massive steps forward for the game, and hopefully the devs can keep up the pace. That said, it is Star Citizen, expect delays, scaled back releases, zany bugs, and more. If you're playing Star Citizen these days, let us know what you think about all of these previews and updates in the comments. DICE finally fixed a big issue with Battlefield 2042's XP reward system. The first match XP has been broken since the 1.2 update launch, costing players a free 10,000 XP bonus every day. Rewarding that missing XP retroactively is something that DICE are looking into, but for now they've doubled the first match bonus as compensation. We're expecting more info about the 2.0 update, Season 2, and additional map reworks this month, so stay tuned for some more updates. A massive leak confirmed long-standing rumors about the canceled Call of Duty Black Ops 4 campaign. It's a breakdown of a leaked design document from a 2017 build of the game. In a nutshell, Treyarch were developing a 2v2 co-op campaign that you could play from both sides of a global conflict. Treyarch canceled it in early 2018 after employees playtested a milestone build of the mode during the 2017 holiday break. Developers pivoted to a Battle Royale mode since they couldn't complete a traditional linear campaign in time. Instead, they reworked the 2v2 mode's assets for the Blackout Battle Royale mode in a matter of months. Xbox and PlayStation have been taking shots at each other all week as scrutiny of Team Green's buyout of Activision does its rounds with internal regulators. PlayStation says the deal is bad because it gives gives Xbox control of system-selling franchises like Call of Duty. They say that Xbox shouldn't be able to dictate pricing and platforms for such a massive game franchise since it could stifle competition. And of course, it's not hard to imagine what Call of Duty becoming an Xbox exclusive would do to Sony. Xbox fired back, saying that they recognize Call of Duty's massive standings with gamers, but that it's not an essential franchise that makes people buy one console over another. They also said the franchise will remain multi-platform as exclusivity wouldn't be profitable. Where things got heated though was Microsoft accusing Sony of paying developers to keep their titles off of the Xbox Game Pass. The accusation is part of a Brazilian regulatory hearing regarding the Xbox Activision buyout. Microsoft claims that Sony have done provable harm to the growth of the Game Pass by paying for blocking rights to prevent devs from utilizing Game Pass and other system services. It's tough to say if this accusation will mean anything to the Brazilian regulators, but it's bold implications for the industry if there's evidence to support Microsoft's claims. Apex Legends Season 14 broke the game's all-time concurrent player count record on Steam. It passed 500,000 players shortly after the season launched. The previous record was in the 400,000 range. The update adds a new sniping-oriented legend called Vantage, makes some significant balance changes, and reworks the Kings Canyon map. New screenshots of Escape from Tarkov's upcoming Streets map was released. They show an impressive amount of detail packed into the urban streets of an abandoned city. The developers have been teasing this map's release for 2 years now, but it seems like an actual launch is happening this year. Previous trailers and screenshots of the map were impressive, but these new images show a much more war-torn and lived-in environment. A long-awaited VR mod for Half-Life 2 is entering public beta next month. The mod doesn't just put a camera in your head, it updates the gameplay with VR inputs like motion-tracked hands, locomotion, and more. The mod has been in development since 2013, but recently ramped up thanks to new people being brought onto the project. As with most mods of Valve games, all you need is a legit copy of Half-Life 2 to try the VR mod. Naughty Dog released new comparison footage of their Last of Us Part 1 remake. The remake shows a forest and a burning house. The differences in both camera work and lighting are simply stunning. The forest looks much more realistic and properly shaded by its own canopy compared to the original game's overly bright and flat lighting. The burning house scene has both a ton more visual complexity to the fire and a repositioned camera that looks more cinematic and immersive. The remake is launching on September 2nd for the PlayStation 5. Infinity Ward released a brief teaser showcasing actual gameplay of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The footage shows a new map called Farm 18 based on the Schoolhouse map from 2019's Modern Warfare. It's not a one-to-one remake of that map, but it has a lot of similarities. It's a pretty impressive looking environment. Hopefully we'll get a proper look at the footage soon, since it's only been released on social media so far. Before we get on to our final story, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. If you're new around here, consider subscribing or even becoming a channel member to support the content. It helps me a ton and keeps you in the loop with every upload. Channel members also get chat emotes and behind the scenes content as a bonus for their extraordinary support. The legal battle between Destiny developer Bungie and cheat maker group Aim Junkies escalated this week, with the cheat developer publishing a press release condemning Bungie's most recent lawsuit against them. Bungie's first attempt at suing Aim Junkies on copyright grounds was dismissed last year by the court, but they refiled a few weeks later with more evidence, and that trial is still ongoing. Aim Junkies say cheating in games isn't illegal despite Bungie trying to make it illegal via the courts, and that it happens because developers like Bungie are incapable of governing their players. They also say the features in their cheats belong in the game and that they've offered to work with Bungie to develop solutions. Game devs and cheat makers are currently in an arms race, with both sides constantly innovating new solutions to combat the other. These lawsuits have proven to be very effective at shutting down cheat developers, but for everyone that gets shut down, it seems like there's a dozen left to deal with. In general, I don't think cheat makers are going to get much sympathy from the gaming world, but again, from a legal standpoint, the courts are doing what they feel is legally obligated of them. And that wraps it up for this week in gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.